What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Kevin out of David, coming at you again with another video. Even though my boys lost on Saturday, I got to represent for them. You know what I mean? Uh, we beat ourselves, but I'm still going to represent. That's my team. But anyway, this video is going to be titled Women Know Your Worth. Because you got a lot of these sisters out here, man, who, in all honesty, you're doing as the Lord so prescribed and the Lord so basically ordained from the beginning in Genesis uh chapter 1, chapter 2. You're doing it. You're doing it. But you're doing it in the wrong fashion. Let's get into it.
Let's talk with Carolina David. Let's talk with Carolina David. Let's talk with Carolina David. Let's talk with Carolina David.
All right. Now I was just doing some reading and I read the whole book of Ruth. And looking at Ruth, Ruth was a woman who was married before, and her husband, along with her sister-in-law husband, had passed away because Naomi, the mother-in-law, where she felt as though that she was basically cursed by God. But that wasn't the fact. I mean, like, because her husband died, and then her husband had passed away, and then her two sons had passed away, so she felt like God was against her. But I'm gonna come up to chapter 4, and we're gonna start at the first verse. But I'm just to give you some presight of what the third chapter was. Basically, Ruth, she was going into the fields of Boaz, which is near kinsman to Naomi because of Elimelech, which is Naomi's husband, is basically his brother, I believe. Something along that line. I think it's like his brother. Matter of fact, I think it is his brother. It says in the chapter 4, but I can't remember it off the top of the head. But so Ruth was going there because, you know, they went back home to Naomi's hometown, which is Elimelech's hometown, and Elimelech had some inheritance or whatever like that. And Ruth was just basically going there to make work, to make food, to bring back food and stuff like that for Naomi and herself. But Naomi saw everything that was taking place, and she told Ruth what to do as far as when it came about with Boaz. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start from the third chapter because I'm the type of person, I like to get the whole truth and understanding of what's going on. I don't like to try to come off the top of the head. I like to just let the scripture speak, as I say. In Ruth chapter 3, starting at verse 1, this is what Naomi told Ruth. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, My daughter, shall I not seek rest for you, that it may be well with you? So right there, Naomi was basically saying, like, shall I not seek rest? When she said rest, like, basically talking about a husband or you know, a husband, so that it may be well with her. Then it says in verse 2, And now is not Boaz our kindred, with whose handmaid you was, you watched. So basically, so she was saying, like, whose handmaid you was. So she was letting her know that Boaz is her next kinsman because of Elimelech, and she was his handmaid because she went there to glean the fields and whatever like that for corn for herself and Naomi. Then it says, Behold, he winnows barley tonight in the threshing floor. And when it says winnow, basically it says like he spreads barley. And when it says the threshing floor, basically it's saying the barn. All right. So verse 3 says, Wash yourself therefore, and anoint you, and put you raiment upon you, and put your raiment upon you, and get ye down to the floor. So she telling her to go to the floor, to the barn. But make not yourself known unto the man until he have done eating and drinking. Okay. So she's telling her what to do. She told her to get herself right, get herself pretty and nice, and go to the barn. And don't make yourself known until he was finished eating and drinking. Okay. And then it says, verse 4, and it shall be when he lies down that you shall mark the place where he shall lie, and you shall go in and uncover his feet, and you lay down, and he will tell you what you shall do. So she's telling her to go there, and when he lies down, she says to mark the place where he shall lie. So basically she's saying, like, you know how, like, matter of fact, in a sense, you know how, like, when lions, they mark their territory, or dogs, when they mark their territory, she's basically saying you shall mark where he lies. Basically mark it for you, right? And then it says, verse 5, and she said unto her, all that you say unto me, I will do. And she went down unto the floor, and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heat corn. And she came softly and uncovered his feet, and laid her down. So, right there, telling you that when he had done eating and drinking, that she basically did everything that Ruth told her to do. That when he laid down, she laid down basically with him. Like, not sleeping with him, but just basically laid down in the place where he was. Okay. And then it says, and it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself. And behold, a woman lay at his feet. And he said, who are you? And she answered, I am Ruth, your handmaid. Spread therefore your skirt over your handmaid, for you are a near kinsman. So right there, Ruth said, basically told him, you know, because like he probably had a nightmare, a dream or something, because at midnight he sleep. He turned over because he was scared, and he saw her and said, who are you? And that's when she told him all that. And when she said, spread your skirt, therefore, she was basically telling him to, like, basically spread the cup over her. And then said, for you are near kinsman. The reason why she said, for you are near kinsman, because back in the Israelite, back in the biblical time, when your husband passed away, you go to the brother. And if there is no brother, then now it's like the nearest kinsman of that man, that husband that passed away, like first cousin or whatever like that. All right. Now, verse 10 says, and he said, blessed be you of the Lord, my daughter, for you have showed me more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. Inasmuch as you followed not young men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, hold on, first of all, I want y'all to see something right now. This is basically letting you know that this man Boaz has to be of some age, because he said my daughter. In order for a man to say my daughter, that means that she has to be of an age limit that basically can be like his daughter, right? And so it says, inasmuch you have followed not young men, whether poor or rich. Why would he say young men if he's the same age, around the same age? So that lets you know that he was saying you didn't go after the young men, which, you know, poor or rich. And then it says, verse 11, and now, my daughter, fear not, I will do to you all that you require. For all the city of my people do know that you are a virtuous woman. So he telling her that she's a virtuous woman. And if you go to Proverbs chapter 31, it lets you know what a virtuous woman is. So that lets you know that right there, that she's a woman that's far beyond other women. That she's a woman that is loyal, that she's a woman of God. Because like a virtuous woman is a woman that is of God as well. Now verse 12, and it says, and now it is true that I am your near kinsman. Howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I. So he's basically saying there is someone that's nearer than I, not of the brothers, because the brothers has passed. Like when her husband passed, and then the brother had passed, which was already married. But now it goes to the cousin, the first cousin, or whatever like that. So he's saying there's someone nearer than I, which means there's someone older than me that is before me. All right. Then he said, verse 13, stay here, tarry this night, stay here this night, and it shall be in the morning that if he will perform unto you the part of a kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman's part. But if he will not do the part of a kinsman to you, then will I do the part of a kinsman to you. And as the Lord lives, lie down until the morning. So he basically told her, don't go out at night. Stay here until the morning. And, you know, the kinsman that's nearer to you than I, if he don't do what the kinsman part, then I would do. Okay. Verse 14. And she lay at his feet until the morning, and she rose up before one could know another. And he said, let it be known that a woman came into the floor. Also, he said, bring the veil that you have upon you, and hold it. And when she held it, he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her, and she went into the city. So he basically gave her a parting gift, gave her food. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, who are you, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done to her. And she said, these 6 measures of barley gave he me. And he said to me, go not empty unto your mother-in-law. Then she said, sit still, my daughter, until you know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the thing this day. So, chapter 3 basically is the layout of chapter 4. So she told her to stay there, sit still, until this matter, until everything play out, because it's an order. It's an order that has to play out. Now, chapter 4, verse 1 says, Then went Boaz up to the gate, and set him down there. And behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came back, unto whom he said, Ho. So basically, ho is like hello. Such as one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit you down here. And they sat down. So he basically gathered a court together, because it had to be an order. And he told them all to sit down. Verse 3. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is coming in out of the country of Moab, sells a parcel of land, which was our brother Elimelech. So therefore, Elimelech, which is Naomi's husband, is Elimelech, which is Naomi's husband, is Boaz's brother as well. And so now this thing is going to come to pass. Verse 4. And I thought to advertise you, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people, if you will redeem it. So basically, he's saying, hey, the land that she is selling, if you will buy it, buy it. Because the reason why he had the people there, because it had to be, it's an order. Like I said, they need to do things decent and in order. All right. Then it says, but if you will not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know, for there is none to redeem it besides you, and I am after you. And he said, I will redeem it. So the man said he will redeem before Boaz. All right. Then Boaz said, what day you buys the field in the what day you buys the field of the hand of Naomi, you must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. So he was basically letting them know, you're gonna buy it from Naomi, but you must also buy it from Ruth, because like basically saying like you got to go in into Ruth and you know, do the deed to raise up the inheritance, a son, a child, in name of the past husband. Okay. Then verse 6 said, and the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. So basically he's saying, lest I destroy my own inheritance, lest I mess up my own inheritance. You redeem my right to yourself, for I cannot redeem. So now, the one that was nearest kinsman to Naomi, to Ruth, now said he can't redeem it, because if he do it, then he will mess up his inheritance, his own inheritance. So now it goes down to Boaz. All right. Now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. So let it be known that this is the custom of Israel when it comes down to acquiring a piece of land or whatever like that. Instead of like today signing a deed and signing all this paperwork, all you did was took up your shoe and handed it to your neighbor. For basically, and the neighbor kept the shoe, basically for like a contract. All right. Now verse 8. Then it says, therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for you. So he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, you are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech and all that was Chalions and Malons of the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Malon, have I purchased to be my wife. All right. So basically, by Ruth already being married, and she's now in the land of Bethlehem, like he purchased, like it's almost like the same thing of like you giving the money to the father for her to be your wife. He purchased her for her to be his wife. She wasn't there. All right. That this right here is to also give clarification of marriage, because a lot of people feel like when it comes down to marriage, that you got to go before a lawyer and or before a judge, before a priest or a pastor, and perform a ceremony, and then you be married that way. But in the Word of God, that is not so. And we're about to show you right now too how that's not so. Okay. Now I'm gonna start over back at verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Malon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place you are witnesses this day. All right, so basically saying like he will raise up a son in the name of basically he was going to entreat. Basically he was going to conceive a child with Ruth, but it was going to be in the name of, in honor of Mahlon, to raise up a name after Mahlon, so he won't be cut off from, Israel. All right, verse 11. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into your house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do you worthily in Ephrathah, and be famous in Bethlehem. All right, verse 12. And let your house be like the house of Pharaoh, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, and of the seed which the Lord shall give you of this young woman. All right. So basically, he's saying of the seed that the Lord going to give you of this woman is going to basically be in the same manner of how Tamar bare unto Judah for the thing that was already seen. All right. Then it says, so Boaz took Ruth. Now again, it said Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the woman said unto Naomi, blessed be the Lord, which have not left you this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. And he shall be the restorer of your life and the nourisher of your old age. For your daughter-in-law, which loves you, which is better to you than 7 sons, have borne you. So right there, it's not basically saying that Ruth is better than her sons. It was just saying that right now Ruth is considered to be better to you than 7 sons, because your sons have passed, but they haven't born you a grandson. All right. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now, when I know a lot of you have heard the stories back in the day when these pastors used to preach and said, you need to find your Boaz, and your Boaz and stuff like that will come to you or whatever. But in all actuality, there was a custom that had took place. Like, and I want to say to you women, you need to know your worth, because the same custom that took place then can take place now. There are men out here who notice you, who will be kind unto you, who will love you and your children, who will love you. You know what I'm saying? Who will be a Boaz to you. But you got to be willing to play the role of a woman. Now, I know a lot of these women that might be watching this right now, who might be feminists, who might be women empowerers and whatever like that, who don't believe in the old time traditions and don't believe in following that way. But listen, you need to realize that the way that we're going now is the way of error. It is not right. That is the reason why you have more divorces than marriages today. That is the reason why that it is rated at a hefty 75% women and men that are unmarried. But there are children being born into this world without the presence of a father. And why do you think that is? Because of this tradition, because of this way that we're following right now, which is wrong. Because you women feel as though, oh, I don't need no man. I can do bad all by myself. I'm a strong, independent woman. But even the women in the Bible knew. That's the reason why when Naomi told Ruth, shall I find you what was it in chapter 3? She said, Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, my daughter, shall I not seek for you rest, that it may be well with you? So she knew, the women in the Bible knew, that the order that God had so ordained was that you not to work. Because, let's be honest, Ruth was working in the fields so that she could provide for Naomi and herself. But see, Naomi said, shall I find you rest? So she was telling her, let me help you find a husband so that you can have rest. So you won't have to work. So you won't have to provide for us, but this man who will be your husband will provide for you. Same thing can happen to this. The same thing can happen today. A lot of you women out there are picking men who ain't nothing. Who will rather be at home playing on the game, who would rather be hanging out with his boys, drinking and smoking weed, who would rather be selling drugs and whatever, like with the possibility of officers intruding into your home instead of being a man and working for his in the rightful manner. And a lot of you women choose these dudes. And then these dudes go in unto you. And they marry you by way of sex. That's the reason why a lot of people need to understand sex is marriage in the eyesight of the Most High God. It is not when you go to a judge or a priest or a pastor or whatever like that, and they say, do you take this person to be your lawfully wedded wife or a lawfully wedded husband? It's not that. It's when you have sex with that person. That's why you need to know, even if you're looking, even in Ruth, it says that Boaz took Ruth and she became his wife. What does took mean? I know a lot of y'all might say, well, took don't necessarily mean that they had sex. Well, what does it mean? Because he already paid the price for Ruth by way of purchasing the land and whatever like that. He already paid for the price. She wasn't there when he paid for it, and he was already saying, that's my wife. Yes, when you pay the price, when you already committing to that person, he already committed to her. And then when he laid with her, that sealed the deal. That's when she became his wife. And a lot of y'all are out here laying with these men, and they're becoming your husband by way of sex. And then they leave. And then y'all women are sitting here struggling. I mean, some of y'all struggle to the point where y'all turn to drugs and alcohol yourself because of your mind being in a state of stress, in a state of worryation, in a state of pain, because you're trying to raise this child on your own. But it takes two. It takes two to raise a child. It takes two to tango. But anyway, I'm going to bid y'all adieu. And I'm going to say good night. I love y'all. And I pray that y'all have a blessed and peaceful night rest. Until next time. Peace.